Digital transformation projects are often and increasingly seen by organisations as a fundamental component of their long-term strategy and as a way of guaranteeing the future of their business. They've been feted in the industry as delivering fundamental change and growth and as being essential to the viability of business models. But there's also a darker side to this utopian picture. According to research undertaken by McKinsey, 70% of all digital transformation projects fail to meet their stated goals. So clearly these projects are important, and also clearly there are structural challenges in successfully delivering them. But what do we mean by digital transformation? Why are these projects so complex? What are the key trends in digital transformation projects? And why do these projects so often fail to deliver their promised outcomes? Thank you for tuning in to the first of the series of webinars we'll be running on digital transformation projects, in which we'll look to answer these questions and many more besides. These webinars are designed to provide an entry point into the complex world of digital transformation, and as such, we've purposely kept them short and hopefully engaging. Of course, if you'd like to discuss any of the themes covered in our series in more detail, please do reach out to one of our experts, who'd be delighted to arrange a follow-up conversation. This first webinar slightly sets the cart before the horse in focusing on how to get the best from your lawyers in a digital transformation project. Digital transformation projects are complex beasts, drawing together experts across a range of sectors to deliver a hopefully seamless solution for a client. Very often, however, lawyers are seen as somewhat ancillary to this journey, as rubber stampers rather than as key partners in delivering a successful outcome. In our experience, drawn from decades operating at the forefront of the technology landscape in the UK and Europe, this can lead to poor outcomes for organisations and is often a contributory factor to projects not delivering their final and full potential. Today, we're very fortunate to be joined by two genuine experts in the field, Chris Easton and Laura Witherspoon, a partner and director, respectively, in our market-leading technology and data team. Welcome both.
Thanks, Nick.
So Chris, there's clearly lots of moving parts to these types of projects. How can lawyers help make these projects a success?
So firstly, I think clients need to engage their legal team from the outset. If the digital transformation program is strategic, then you need to let your lawyers look at it strategically. Talk to us before you've identified your requirements and give us that view of the big picture, because understanding that wider context is going to better unlock more insightful advice and guidance that can then be translated into the sourcing approach and then into the documentation when we put that together. Then let the lawyers help when it comes to cost and timescale. We advise clients of all kinds, all shapes and sizes, on a variety of deals, and we bring different approaches depending on what the deal requires. So we can help clients to identify their objectives and then establish a scope of legal support that's going to help them deliver against those objectives. Using our experience is going to help develop that approach, construct the project budget and the timescale, and ultimately good planning early on is going to help build the cost of delivering the transaction into the overall program budget. And then finally, play to our strengths. We're experts in delivering these deals, so give us the time and the resources we need in order to do what we do, whether it's time to properly review the documentation, get a full picture of what's going on at the right moment, give us access to the key subject matter experts. Ultimately, it's going to save time and money in the long run.
Thanks, Chris. It's always reassuring to hear that lawyers can make a meaningful difference on these types of projects. But Laura, surely any commercial lawyer can navigate a digital transformation project, can't they?
Well, Nick, it might be true that underpinning any digital transformation are a set of commercial contracts. So on the one hand, yes. However, we would always recommend using the right lawyers for the job. And this might not be your panel firms or the work of the lawyers that do your financing and corporate work. Specialist technology lawyers like Chris and I can navigate the typical commercial issues in a technology contract very easily. We can apply a regulatory lens to ensure that you're delivering a compliant solution that reduces risk. And we can also provide the tools necessary to navigate a multi-vendor environment and shape the sourcing approach to increase the competitive tension during the deal.
Thanks, Laura. Just picking up on one of those points, do you then think, Chris, that lawyers should be advising on the commercial, technical and operational aspects of these projects?
Definitely. Absolutely. First of all, it's not safe to assume that the legal terms are going to fix problems elsewhere. a robust contract is going to comprise more than just those legal terms in the front end. And more often than not, the issues arise where there's a disconnect within the service description or a disconnect between the technical and operational content, which often appears in the back end of the contract. And sometimes lawyers are told not to look at it. So a red flag review that's limited to the legal terms will not pick up those problems. And actually, an intelligent management of risk requires us to take a more holistic approach and appreciation of the whole contract, not just that front end. I think also clients need to not just see us as the lawyers, because actually, given the experience that we have in delivering these transactions, they could use us as a resource to help deliver success, right? Don't just focus on the legal questions. We've got that cross-market perspective and can add lots of extra value beyond just the legal expertise. We can put commercial constructs together that ultimately make the deal, not just build the legal framework to support it. And we've got a wealth of experience in supporting clients to overcome similar challenges to the ones that the client is facing. And we're expert negotiators, so leverage the wider skill set and then integrate the lawyers into the deal team. I think this is really important because this is going to give a real benefit. And it's about collaboration. It's about that collaboration between legal, IT, and the business teams. It helps to foster that culture of open communication and innovation that is necessary to drive alignment to the overall business objectives. Ultimately, we're going to be better able to spot potential challenges if we're part of the conversation, if we're looking across the whole deal, including the commercial, operational, technical parts.
Thanks, Chris. That's a pretty unequivocal answer, and it sounds like born out of some past experience. Laura, do you agree with that view? Do you agree that lawyers should be involved in these matters and ultimately form part of the core project team?
In our experience, Nick, this will give you the absolute biggest benefits during a deal. Collaboration between the legal function, the IT function, and the business teams helps to foster an open environment of communication, and then you can innovate along the way. So in short, yes.
Great. Thanks, Laura. So having heard your and Chris's answers, I suspect I know the answer to this next question, but do you think it's enough to get legal then just to do a quick check of the contract at the end to sign off on the risk?
Absolutely not. As Chris has already alluded to, a robust contract is more than just the front-end terms, and to do a proper job, we need to be involved from start to finish and not just reviewing a red flag review 2 weeks before signature.
Thanks, Laura. So it seems clear to me then that lawyers are pretty well placed to help deliver these projects to signature. But Chris, do you think lawyers can also add value once the deal's signed?
Yeah, I mean, the deal isn't done once the ink dries on the contract. Ultimately, you've got your contract, now you need to deliver it. So how do we operationalise the contract, right? So with good planning, you've already thought about this as you've been developing the contract. So hopefully the contract processes that have been built around governance, around vendor management, those are already reflecting what's going to happen post-signature. But even so, I think there's a lot of sense in having a handover from the deal team to the delivery team. And actually lawyers, as we've identified, should be central to that. The other thing that we need to remember is that digital transformation programs evolve. They're not static. So it's really important that any evolution is captured contractually. So once you've signed the deal, as technology changes, as the business evolves, issues are going to arise. Contract resets are quite common. So don't do those without having the right legal input so that you don't lose all of those hard-fought protections that you've won during the letting of the contract through to signature.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chris and Laura, for your insights and for setting out some of the ways in which you can get the best from your lawyers on these types of digital transformation projects. We hope you found this webinar useful, and please do stay tuned for our subsequent webinars, which will cover topics ranging from how to navigate the tide of digital regulation, how to effectively manage AI risk in your digital transformation projects, and how to effectively deliver these projects in a climate of budgetary and cost constraints. And of course, if you'd like to discuss any of the matters we've covered today, or if you have any questions regarding your digital transformation projects generally, please don't hesitate to get in touch. We'd be delighted to talk to you. Thank you.